This is John Kieffer in studio reporting for Infowars.com. We've got a number of stories, so we're going to get right into it because time is limited on this report. We have a cop hospitalized from opioid lace, a flyer placed on sheriff's vehicles, on her vehicle. It says here, according to Jamie White, she picked it up and didn't think anything of it, but she drove to her destination and began feeling a little bit lightheaded and having a few symptoms, and it turns out that she had been drugged. So we in our own city have this kind of problem right now, opioids all over the place, and we have done an on-site report seeing what Torontonians think, and it gets a little rough, so take a look. Hey, this is John Kieffer out here in Toronto, Ontario. We're reporting for Infowars.com on the opioid crisis currently raging across the land. Here in Toronto, we have instituted some safe injection sites, places where people can get needles freely exchanged for clean ones. And the political pundits, mainstream media, and people in government have told us that this is going to create safer streets, less AIDS, less drug use, that people aren't going to be violent. We've got security out. We have private security from Ryerson University, and they have to handle all the opioids, all the people out here, all the people using needles and drugs. They're fenced off. They're pushed out. This stairwell used to be open here where it's boarded up. Right behind the needle exchange, we're going to take a look down here the alley and see what we can find. I counted about, I think maybe 12 needles right here in this area. People just throwing them over. There's no real way to say, you know, we could have done better, we can do better. The exchange is not working. And this is not what we need in Toronto right now. We need responsible people to clean up this mess, and I'm hoping Mayor Tory will clean up this mess. This is costing us a lot of money, it's costing us a lot of grief, and it is dangerous.
I would say it's working. I mean, the people are who they are. I've even chatted to a few. They're human beings like anyone else. They didn't choose to be in this situation. My point is that something has to be done. If it isn't working, and obviously it isn't here from what you described, then we need to find ways of making it work.
I feel like it might be promoting drug use more than it is helping. Maybe just a little more control. I don't know how that can be done.
I mean, it's a good initiative, but at the same time, you need to have someone to, be after it. Make sure to see it through till the end. So as long as you don't have the management to do that, I don't think it's. You need to get your management in order first before you start an initiative like that.
It's really helpful, at least if we prevent, even preventing one person from getting AIDS or any other kinds of disease, it's really helpful.
Of all the places in Toronto where you could put it, would you put it at Yonge and Dundas Square, which is our tourism center of practically the country?
Yeah, you're right. You're definitely right. It's not a good area to have it with tourists coming into the city. Definitely not a good area.
We've seen what they've just done with marijuana in Canada. In Portugal in the year 2000, they did the same, but they did it with all drugs because they were having such a huge problem at the time. And that actually resulted in reduced overdoses, reduced spreading of AIDS, and reduced addiction.
We have to explore every possibility. Portugal's one, Copenhagen is another. We have to look to people who've done this before and learn. Because Canadians, unfortunately, we're not quick to bring about change. And we do not like dealing with things like this. But it's reality and we have to deal with it. And I feel for the people, the young people that are out on the streets.
They need help. They need help in every level, in every aspect. If this would help, why not?
It's just the teenagers that you need to place more focus on because they're still not mature enough to know what's right and wrong. And that's where the focus should be for the government, I believe.
I, with reservation, lean out here on this biohazard dumping site where many of the needles are supposed to be placed. At the time before these exchanges existed, you didn't see needles all over the place. And not only are we paying for it, but our universities are paying for it right here, Ryerson University, and their students are paying for it. And then in turn, the taxpayers again are paying for it because they pay for these universities. We're not seeing liberalism in any true sense by allowing people to harm themselves without giving them the tools and the necessity, which is the knowledge to do those things.
seriously hope you don't have me on that camera, bro. I'm behind you, motherfucker, here.
No way, he's got me. Hey, can I ask you something?
I hope I ain't on that camera, bro. No. I'm telling you, I'm not that man, right?
No. Do you?
I'm really seriously, I'm not that fucking guy, bro. Yeah. I'll crack your fucking head open, bro. If I'm on that camera. I don't give a fuck about going to prison, bro. You understand me?
So,
take it easy, bro.
He's got me in the shot.
Don't like me. I'm behind you, bro. Right there.
Yeah.
So behind you, I'm on that camera.
Yeah.
I don't want to be on that camera, bro.
We've got the Sam the Record Man sign hovering right above the Needle Exchange, where my cameraman Danny Libby was just attacked and slapped because we were filming outside of it. It shows you the kind of characters and kind of people that you gather when you give people free rein to not only use drugs but have the facilities to give them the justification, the moral, social, and governmental justification to do whatever they want.
You know what the fuck, bro? I will come and blow your brains out for this fucking shit. I'm not that guy, right?
Clearly, he said he would cut our heads off if we did anything. And, you know, there's no fear out here, but there is concern that a younger, maybe a woman in the same situation wouldn't fare as well as the two of us. So we're hoping here, we're closing this out. This investigation clearly showing that the needle exchange isn't working out here for Infowars.com. The opioid crisis, obviously very serious, but there is news on top of news, and news today of Mr. Trudeau coming out of RT. It looks like he's already, this highly liberal Canada has taken the very notion of tolerance to a whole new level. We already got the history on this guy. Like, we know what he said. We keep people kind, not mankind, and there's no genders, there's no mother and father. Now we have Newfoundland, we have a 3-couple family, two dads and one mom, and they're a polygamous family together, and they're all legally the guardians of the child. So this is the direction he's been taking us in, and he's now obviously been accused of sexual harassment, and according to his own laws, his own standards, what he speaks, his philosophy, if you will, he himself should be either stepping down, resign, you know, take a few days off to see whether or not the charges are true. It's an ever-growing saga with this man, and we don't know what's going to happen. We see what in Canada is a blue wave is actually a conservative wave sweeping through, and it would not surprise me if that came through on the federal level as well, and we're hoping it will. In other news, Tommy Robinson. There are still ongoing rallies for this man. He's in solitary confinement. We've seen recent reports and updates from Kaylin Robertson, who's been in studio or at least interviewed by Infowars.com.
Tommy Robinson.
Being in solitary confinement for 23 hours a day.
23 hours a day in solitary confinement. Leeds on the 7th, there's going to be a protest. 14th of July in London, another protest. But we have, of course, Antifa coming up in behind, advertising and trying to find people who are willing to, quote, stop these Nazis.
Because you answered the call to come to a rally organized by a fucking Nazi.
What Nazi? What Nazi? Where's the Nazi? Who?
We were accused of being Nazis out on the street, giving awareness for Tommy Robinson.
Get out of my face.
Is on the street of Toronto.
Just bit my microphone. Okay.
Don't fucking touch me.
I'm encouraging everyone to go out and protest themselves. Help Tommy out. He's more than an info warrior.
Tommy Robinson. We're hoping you get free, my friend.
This is John Kieffer and Danny Libby for Infowars.com, signing out.